The Mythic banner for May 2020 is coming soon, and it's a really good one if you're looking for some fodder. As usual, this monthly banner features a starting 8% 5-star focus rate and a permanent 0% non-focus 5-star rate, which means any 5-star unit you pull is guaranteed to be one of the 12 heroes on this list. It's a nice time if you're looking for any new 5-star units, but be warned, trying to get one specific character may not be as easy. We'll briefly talk about every focus unit on this banner, including what skills each of them has to offer, but first let's discuss our newest hero. May's Mythic Hero is Mila. Once we got Duma last year, it was pretty clear we'd probably get his counterpart eventually, and she's finally in the game. Mythic Mila is gonna be a light Mythic hero that grants bonus defense. She's our third light Mythic, and everyone can already get Era and Peony, so for purely extra 8th rate scoring, Mila isn't a super must get. Let's see what she can offer in terms of combat to differentiate herself. As a unit, Mila is a colorless infantry dragon, so she'll have no triangle advantages or disadvantages, minus Raven Tomes. We actually got a sneak peek at her stats from the trailer, so assuming nothing changes, Mila has 41 HP, 37 attack, 17 speed, 40 defense, and 37 resistance. We have been going hard on min-max stats lately, and Mythic Mila follows suit. She is very slow, but has some incredible defense and res with great base attack. Her 41 HP isn't super high, but that's about average for a Mila unit. From a glance, it appears Mila is going to be somewhat of a tank with low player phase presence. For ult skills, Mila has Rally Defense and Res Plus, which grants plus 6 defense and resistance to an ally for 1 turn. She also has Sabotage Attack 3, which inflicts a minus 7 attack debuff on clumped up enemies with less resistance than Mila. 37 base res is quite high, so Mila should get a lot of debuffs off, and with a Rally skill, she can improve her team's tanky potential. Mila is gonna further enhance her supportive abilities with her weapon, Nurturing Breath. It's a 16 Dragonstone that grants a flat +3 defense, which brings Mila up to a staggering 43 defense with weapon in hand. Nurturing Breath would then grant +2 to all stats for any allies during combat within 7 rows and 7 columns, both of them centered on Mila. Not the craziest weapon out there, but essentially Mila has a super wide range drive boost. It's like Mart's Falchion refined on steroids. The basic Fire Emblem Heroes map is only 6 columns wide, which means Mila only has to be in the center 2 columns to cover the entire width of the map. She will also reach 3 rows above her and 3 rows below her, so if you are going to use her in 8th raids, you almost can't miss the buffing range. There's not much else to say about this weapon. You can pair with other drive or spur type buffs to help out the team, and Mila already has her rally and sabotage skills in her base kit. Something to keep in mind is that since Mila is a light mythic, you will have to face Bramimon on defense, and he will cancel out Nurturing Breath completely. If you're going to go for a heavy drive buff type build, you do need to be careful of that guy. For her unique skill, Mila has Mila's Turnwheel as a C skill. At the start of the turn, inflict isolation on foes in cardinal directions with less defense than Mila through their next actions. Also, if Mila is deployed during light seasons of 8th raid offense teams, you will get an extra turn. Let's start with that second effect. So in 8th raids, when attacking, you get 7 turns to win. If you use Mila during light seasons, she lets you have 8 turns. If you're always running out of turns to win, Mila may just give you that little bit extra time to finish off the enemy team. Now back to the first effect, Mila can inflict isolation. This status effect prevents units from using or being the target of assist skills. That includes dancing, healing, movement skills, or rally buffs. Isolation is an incredibly powerful effect in PvP modes, mainly to shut down dancers from screwing up everything. You do need to keep in mind that isolation goes away if a unit makes an action that would then allow them to get danced or healed or whatever. What this means is that to truly stop dancers, you must inflict isolation on them. That is very important. Now, Mila only hits enemies in a line, but you could bring 2 copies for double isolation lanes. She also only needs to win a defense check to apply isolation, and she has 43 defense by default, so that should be quite easy unless she is the target of chill defense or the dark shrine structure. Despite any defense debuffs on Mila, there are only 2 dancers with more than 30 base defense, Dancer Berkut and Dancer Xander. Most people probably only care about stopping legendary Azura because, let's be honest, she is the main problem. Azura has 17 base defense, so something has to go terribly wrong for Mila to lose that defense comparison. There also isn't a dark mythic hero that boosts defense yet, so for now, Mila should have free reign with her Turnwheel. For new skills, Mythic Mila offers Bracing Stance 3 if the foe initiates combat, grants +6 defense and resistance during combat, and inflicts special cooldown charge -1 on the foe per attack. This is going to be a very popular skill because you get both defensive stats with built-in guard. In my opinion, Bracing Stance 3 is just better to have than Steady Stance or Warding Stance 4. For losing 2 defense or resistance, you instead get +6 in the other missing stat, and to me that's worth it for any tank who isn't stacking only defense or only res. As for Mila, she's gonna have incredibly high defense and resistance if you attack into her, and it only gets worse if you're hit by sabotage attack. She may not be super deadly, but she can take some hits even if she gets doubled. Overall, Mila is an interesting mythic hero. We don't get too many legendary or mythics who are mainly support oriented, and while Mila has incredible defense and resistance, she doesn't have distant counter, and you would need quick riposte to actually kill something. Now that I'm thinking about it, you could just give Mila lightning breath for distant counter on her weapon and forgo her +2 stat buff. That would give you a colorless dragon with very high defense and resistance, and she can take a variety of skills since she is an infantry unit. Having Mila's Turnwheel is also a pretty big benefit, but you could still run into issues obviously. I never got Bridal Fury, so I can't say from experience how helpful isolation is in the day-to-day 8th raid battles, but in theory it could save you from a nasty dancer setup. If you are concerned about isolating regular units, you could use Fortress Defense and Res for the flat defense boost, and it would also help out Sabotage Attack proc more often. Bracing Stance 3 is very good in combat though, so it's a tough decision. As for her artwork, that seems to be a pretty hot topic since it's quite different from the art style we had in Shadows of Valentia. The artist is the same one who did Jagan, Gunter, Ogma, Zephyeo, and Bantu more recently. It's not my personal favorite or anything, but I do think it does fit Mila. That art style feels kinda Renaissance-ish, and it's almost like having a painting of an old legend, which fits the bill for a mythical god character. You may have also noticed that this artist actually gives his characters 4 unique poses versus the usual 3 poses with special and basic attack art sharing the same pose. I really like Mila's special attack artwork since she is partially transforming into a dragon already, and that's pretty neat. Anywho, let's now move on to our 11 other heroes on this banner. In the red group, we have Mythic Leif, Legendary Eliwood, and Laryssa. Blue has Legendary Julia, Lucina, and Ephram. For green, we have Legendary Hector, Annette, and Ocean. Then in the colorless, we have a godly group of Mythic Mila plus Legendary Leif and Alm. That is one insane group. For red, we start with Leif. He's an infantry swordsman with high attack and okay speed, defense, and res. Leif's an interesting unit because his sword can give him +4 to all stats plus a follow-up attack, but he chunks an ally for 20 damage, making teammate choice kind of important. His beast skill inflicts an in-combat debuff while also giving Leif cooldown reduction when attacked. This combos with his 3 cooldown special, Open the Future, which is a bonfire plus noontime effect, and with Time's Pulse, it allows Leif to counter with Open the Future instantly thanks to Deadly Balance. He also comes with Distant Counter, so Leif gets to do this against any enemy type. I've been using Leif on my 8th raid defense teams mainly for the reduced lift loss, and I wasn't expecting him to be a super deadly threat. However, he's done rather well to my surprise, and while he does hurt a teammate badly, I have to say he can put up a good fight. Overall, I would say Thrasir and Duma are much better anima mythics for defense teams, but Leif does come with some amazing fodder skills. Since Distant Counter is only one skill, you can inherit it along with Time's Pulse, and both are great to have. Next we got Legendary Eliwood, who's a Sword Cavalier and a very strong support unit. He's the only unit in the game who can give an ally the bonus doubler status, and thanks to Vision of Arcadia, Eliwood can buff that ally from anywhere on the map. With Rally Speed and Resistance Plus, he can cover the missing stats, and Chill Attack provides extra debuffs too. While this Eliwood can do well with some offensive skills, he's mainly sought after for that bonus doubler buff, and he can turn some units into absolute monsters. He's a very fun unit to have around. Last we have Laryssa, who is literally Ira 2.0. Her sword accelerates specials, and Laryssa has Regno Astra, which is now on a 1 cooldown. She's incredibly fast, her sword grants bonus stats while neutralizing field buffs, and she has attack and speed solo plus repel. Just an amazing duelist kit, and you can get Panic Smoke as well. I'm sure you all know how ridiculous repel and close call are, so Laryssa is a great unit to get even if you don't plan to use her. Oh yeah, she's also a great user of Time's Pulse since that opens up the double Regna Astra playstyle. If only we had one of those Time Pulse users on this banner. It should be obvious, but this red group is ridiculous for fodder skills. DC, Time's Pulse, Repel, Deathblow 4, and more. It's definitely not a bad color to go for. For the blue group, we start with Legendary Julia. We just had Fallen Julia, and like I mentioned before, these two arts are very similar, except one is red and one is blue. For Legendary Julia, she is a dragon killer, and literally every skill in her kit just adds more damage. She is a super high damage mage, and her light and dark B skill gets rid of field buffs, so tanking her attacks is not easy. For fodder skills, Julia has Mirror Impact, which is a very strong player phase A skill, and she has Attack and Res Oath for self buffing. If you grab Mirror Strike 2 from Oliver, you can inherit Mirror Impact and Attack and Res Oath at the same time. Next we have Legendary Lucina, who's a blue infantry archer. Thogan grants extra stats versus melee units, and with Swift Sparrow, Lucina can deal some decent damage. Her real strength, however, is Future Vision, which allows Lucina to swap with an ally, and then she gets to move again. This makes Lucina super unpredictable, and you have to be so careful when you face her. She's a very annoying defense unit to face combined with dancers. For fodder skills, Lucina has Swift Sparrow 2 or Distant Guard. Both are decent skills to pass along. We just had duo Ephram and Leon last month, but since Leon went and got all possessed by an evil demon king, Legendary Ephram is back this month. He's a Lance Cavalier with a focus on player phase initiations, since Flame Sigmund grants a follow-up attack if surrounded by more enemies than allies. Solar Brace is interesting since it applies a noontime effect when Ephram procs a special, and they can stack with other healing specials too. That said, it's not super crazy, and Legendary Ephram can be a good Gale Force user, so it doesn't help him there. In terms of fodder, Ephram only really has Sturdy Stance 2, but you now can get that skill from Alptana. Overall, the blue group has some decent units, but definitely less impressive fodder skill options available. Moving on to green, we got Legendary Hector. He's an Axe Army unit who can prevent follow-up attacks, and he has Vengeful Fighter to get his own doubles. Hector is your usual enemy phase tank, and he has distant counter, so he's instantly sought after. In terms of combat, he kinda just gets replaced by Momori if you give her DC and Vengeful Fighter, but Hector still has Ostia's Pulse. This is a great skill that can give -1 cooldown to all allies on turn 1 if you don't have more than 2 of each movement type on the team. It's a very powerful skill and can make certain builds much easier to use, like Gale Force builds. Next we have Annette, who is a decently fast axe infantry unit with a ton of base attack. Her Crusher axe comes with adaptive damage, which means Annette can punch through high defense tanks if the res isn't good. It also allows Annette to grant a +1 movement buff to allies that she rallies. This does work on melee cavaliers to get 4 movement, but you can't use it on range cavaliers. Annette has Rally Attack and Speed Plus and Defense and Res Ruse to go with her Rally Movement buff, so she's a great team player. Her Gap skill can also buff an ally from across the map. If you want to get Rally Attack and Speed Plus and Defense and Res Ruse from Annette at the same time, you actually can, thanks to Bridal Cordelia being an Ephemeral 5 combat manual at the moment. She can give a unit Rally Attack and Speed, which leaves enough room for Annette to pass the 3 tiers of Defense and Res Ruse and then Rally Attack and Speed Plus. That's definitely worth the effort. Next we have Ocean, who is another decently fast axe infantry unit. His Vouge axe grants accelerated specials, and if Ocean is above 50% HP, he gets distant counter. That's a rather fun ability, and Ocean has great skills on hand. Mirror Stance 3 gives +6 attack and res on the enemy phase with guard built in. Wrath offers extra special damage and cooldown reduction. Then you have even attack wave for attack buffs. If you can get Mirror Stance 2 from a 5-star Sylvia, you can also get Wrath 3 or even Attack Wave 3, another case where you want to make the most of these skills offered. The green group is similar to red with 3 good units and some killer fodder skills. You can get Distant Counter, Vengeful Fighter, the Rally and Ruse combo, Mirror Stance 3, and Wrath, another great color. Last, we just have an incredible colorless group. Mythic Mila is brand new, and we talked about her enough already. She does have some amazing fodder skills. Bracing Stance 3 is the most notable as it's also new, and you can do the same process of grabbing Bracing Stance 2 from Conrad or the Flame Emperor, which would allow you to get Sabotage Attack 3 or Rally Defense and Res Plus. You can also get Rally Defense and Res from Roderick, but to get Bracing Stance 1, 2, and 3, you do need Steady Stance 1 or Warding Stance 1 as prerequisites. The easiest way to do that is to grab Steady Stance 1 from Silas. Slightly more complicated process, but again, you want to get the most value if you are skill inheriting. Now, the reason Colorless is amazing this time if you want to get Mythic Mila is because she's paired with 2 of the best archers in the entire game. Legendary Leif is a cavalry archer who has very high attack and a dual phase brave bow. His Norn Zeo special is a unique Gale Force special that limits his movement to 1 space after it procs. However, ranged units can't use Gale Force in the first place. Leif is devastating with his high movement, plus attack and res push 4 and defense smoke both just improve his damage output. As for Legendary Alm, he has great attack and is fast too. His main trait is being able to deal true damage equal to 25% of the foe's defense stat on every basic attack, which means even high defense units still take damage from Alm. With Lunar Flash being a mini Regno Astra combined with mini Moonbow, Alm can absolutely chunk some targets, and even if he doesn't kill them, he might just do enough damage for an ally to finish the job. By default, Alm comes with Darting Blow 4 for +9 speed on initiations and no follow-up, so you do have to match his speed to stop his doubles. Most people replace Darting Blow 4 with Sturdy Impact or just Swift Sparrow 3. Alm's not unstoppable, but he's just an annoying unit to tank. Fallen Leon was basically sent in to help stop both of these two archers. Like with the red and green groups, Colorless has some amazing units and skills. Some players may not even want Mila, but having Legendary Alm and Leif at the same time is just super enticing. If you want to get Mythic Mila, this is about as best a group you can ask for. That's it for this video. Let me know what you guys think about Mythic Mila, and are you going to be summoning on this banner? There is some incredible skills available and it's definitely tempting. I'll be taking a pass on this one, but good luck to those of you who are chasing those 5 stars. I'll see you guys in the next video.